So I'm going to do this real quick. I want to show you, I've been touched on types of questions. When you look at the type 1 questions, what do you notice about all of those questions? What do you notice about them? How are they similar? There's a single right answer usually. They're facts. Recall. We call them retrieval. I can look it up. I can remember it. It's in my notes somewhere. Do I need to make a decision? No, there's no decision. It's just, can you remember, find, locate information? When you move to type 2, what do you notice? It's an opinion. How many wrong answers are there? Yeah, typically none. You ask me my opinion, I told you how I feel. Right? Do I need to make a decision? Yeah, there's a decision. How do I make the decision? It's in the gut, right? It's personal. Imagine if I had you over for a barbecue and I said, would you like a glass of wine, red or white? By the way, I want you to know that's meant to be a 2. You could turn it into a judgment. You could begin thinking about, well, let me think about this. You're serving fish, and white goes nice with fish. Meanwhile, I'm standing here holding the wine. I don't really care. I just want to pour you the wine. I meant that as a preference question. I didn't need your analysis of it. We find often kids will do the reverse. Type 3, if you look, are judgment questions. And if you look at type 3, they require a decision, but they're not just how I feel. So to answer a type 3, let me ask you this. Would you accept more answers in 3 than you would in 1? 1, you told me we would call them closed or single answer. Are there more acceptable answers in 3 than there are in 1? Okay. Are there as many acceptable answers in 3 as there are in 2? See, 2 is wide open. 3 is open, but it's not wide open. And the limit is established by, well, what's the criteria you're going to use, and what evidence can you find? This requires a thoughtful decision where kids have to use the evidence they've located. Okay? So let me, I want to offer you a couple of, these are some very quick ideas to share with your staff on just tweaking, because sometimes we get caught in this. We think that by changing the verb, we change the quality of the question. So if I said, list 4 battles Canadians participated in World War II, type 1, 2, or 3, recall, retrieval, preference, or judgment. It's 1, right? Just look up 4 battles. Assemble evidence about the infusion of technology in classrooms. Okay. How many kids would see that as a 1? You said get 5 pages of notes. I have 5 pages of notes. Now I heard someone say 3, and I want to come back to that. Add a title to your story. Okay. Let me show you. What if I asked list 4 significant battles? 1, 2, or 3? 3. I didn't ask for the first 4 battles, or any 4 battles. I asked for significant. Now I have the opportunity to say to students, so why did you pick those 4? Can you justify? How do they fit? Why were they significant? By the way, some of you said that my second one was a 3, and I would agree with you if we are implicitly assuming that that evidence is credible and relevant. My fear is if kids aren't using some criteria to guide them, they find the first evidence they can, versus how do you know you can trust your source, and how is it relevant to the questions you're asking? Add an effective title to your story. Okay, what makes an effective title? Well, it should be concise, informative, and interesting. Okay? Here are some titles, which works best. What I wanted to show you here is it's helping teachers just tweak their question a bit. Notice I added 1 word, and I moved questions from a 1 to a 3. I didn't have to rethink whole lessons. I don't have to rewrite whole questions. Often it's a small tweak that adds power to the question. In fact, I'll show you, this is something I've been playing with, building. I call it my wheel of qualifiers. Just began to assemble the kind of qualifiers that can often be dropped into a question in a textbook, a question, when I look at my question and go, yeah, that just is a list. Well, I can add 1 word in many cases and go, wow, that's actually a more powerful question. Instead of identify 3 arguments the author makes, identify 3 compelling arguments the author makes. Let's talk about our criteria for a compelling argument. Do you see how I've now just increased the quality of reasoning kids are doing? It isn't just locate. What is this a sustainable solution? Identify a solution for a problem. Ensure it's a sustainable solution. Opens up more conversation. So often, by the way, around the ring, we're going to touch on in a moment, are 6 ways of thinking critically, and I've been clustering them around the 6 ways. But providing teachers something like that, just to have in front of their desk when they're working, and they go, I know that's really a recall question. Could I add one word to it to shift it into a thinking question? Helping teachers see that creating thinking classrooms is often small tweaks. That's why I began, it's not an overhaul. It's a tweak we make along the way to enrich the quality of the learning.